Hey YouTube, it's Steve with Tower Genius. Behind me is a rooftop cell site with one of the major carriers, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, or T-Mobile. And maybe you're wondering, what is the cell site lease rate? What's the cell tower lease rate worth on a rooftop? What's the value of my cell site lease? Typically, rooftop cell sites will be worth considerably more oftentimes than a regular cell tower. One of the reasons is that the carriers like Verizon have gotten out of owning towers, and so when they sold off a portfolio of towers to American Tower and allowed the tower companies to manage those. Same thing with AT&T. They sold off their portfolios to Crown Castle, as did T-Mobile, and Sprint also offloaded many of their towers. They're now owned by SBA and other companies. So, but the rooftop cell sites are direct carrier leases in most cases. Okay, so you could typically get a much better deal on a rooftop site where you own the platform, you own the building, and you have a direct deal with the carrier. Now, you basically are American Tower at that point. You are Crown Castle. You are SBA. So, what does a cell site like this generate? Well, this site covers Highway 98 that runs up and down the Gulf of Mexico. It's a super high traveled, heavy traffic road. It gets 100,000 cars coming through here a day probably, and during tourist season it's packed. So a site like this could easily generate anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a month, depending on how it was done, how it was negotiated, what kind of terms were negotiated. However, some of the other factors here there are to be considered are that there are other buildings in the area. There are other rooftops where they could put this. Other places where the carriers could, locate their antennas. So, there are hotels and whatnot across the street here, and high-rise buildings. So, again, that would lower the value of that rent potentially. Where if this was the only rooftop building in the area, if the only available rooftop, well, then the rent would be higher. But there are other sites that are competing for that business, so that would potentially lower the price. Again, you could be dealing with a building owner that really could care less about having a cell site because they view it as an encumbrance. So if you have questions about a rooftop cell tower lease, cell site lease rate, please give Tower Genius a call. You can visit us. You can call us at 888-313-9750 or visit us online at towergenius.com.